Good morning. I am pleased to welcome you to the first quarterly resident meeting for 2021. Last year, we were unable to hold these meetings in person, so a written report was distributed from the committees to each resident. Today is a new format. Not all of us are in person, but with new technology in the Murphy Room, we are happy to live stream the reports of the officers and committee chairs of the Residents Association. Each of these people will be introduced by a slide on the screen that will tell you who they are. We appreciate the support of Community Life Associate Jill Cameron, who is making this possible on the technology equipment. In addition to live streaming, this meeting will be recorded and played again on the Grapevine and Channel 51 starting tomorrow. We will also be distributing the written reports of the committees for you to have this to review at your leisure. I am happy that so many have signed up to participate in the work of our committees this year. You will hear about a wide variety of activities that are supported and planned by our residents here at Friendship Village. So welcome to the Resident Association for 2021. At this time, Rita Doherty will give us a brief report.
So fun to see everyone in a real meeting. Hi. It's so fun. Usually I'm just staring at the wall. There's no one here. So it's great to see everyone. Happy Monday. You're warm enough? Awesome. It's Immunity Day. We did it. So congratulations on your body building up all the antibodies. Well done. You can give it a cookie or a glass of wine or whatever you do to celebrate. But I know Friday we sent out our memo, which kind of has the post-life vaccination world that we are all going to be living in. Believe it or not, I did not get any negative comments about it over the weekend, so you must be happy about it. Awesome. So I won't go back through it, but obviously we're all sitting in this room. There's less than 30 of us in this room today. That's a huge piece. Please, though, as we go through these next couple of months, please make sure that you're wearing your masks and that you're being responsible with your own individual actions. So there's still some risk out there. It's great that the positivity rate continues to decline. It's great that we've all been vaccinated, but we want to make sure we're being cautious about these things. So in celebration, we're going to have our pizza party today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So please don't forget to pick up your pizza, salad, and beverage. And the legacy, and obviously if you would like to enjoy with your friends, we are excited that we're able to be around each other a little bit more. I want to just say real quick about, Jean mentioned about the committees today and how that's all working, but this task force, our COVID task force that has been working almost tirelessly for a year, believe it or not, has really taken a lot of the feedback from committees. And certainly when we got a little off track, the committee chairs were also the ones to put us right back in track. So we're very appreciative of the work that's being done at the committee level. That said, I want to talk real quick about the construction and kind of the reopening activities. So believe it or not, reopening is a little harder than shutting things down. And I can't believe I would ever say that, but we're also finishing up our construction in the kitchen. So we are very, very hopeful that that will be done the last week in February, at the latest, the first week in March. But our refrigerators and freezers are still outside. We probably don't need a freezer outside these days, but they're still outside. They're still working from a pretty small, tight area. If you look at the video, it's about the size of this stage that the whole food for the legacy is being prepared in. So it's going to take some patience. In addition, we haven't served all of you in many cases in over a year, 11 months, excuse me. So be patient. We've had a lot of turnover with our associates. We're training new ones. We're retraining the people that we have. So there's going to be some change. That said, we're really hopeful that your styrofoam will be done and your meal will be served warm or hot to all of you. So working through those things. And then also we don't have a director. So everyone's kind of taking their many different pieces and trying to put it as we move forward. So as excited as we are to all be together, it's not going to be perfect. We know that. We are trying to make it as perfect as we can, but we're going to hit bumps. So feedback, please make it positive or constructive. Let's not bash each other through this process, and we'll keep working on it. The other thing is we've got some construction items. We just talked about the kitchen. Starting, I believe it's Tuesday, the first floor, you know where the carpet is on the first floor in the Ash Run area, that will be replaced. Because we have to get into resident rooms, that work can't be done at night. So it's just all of the team it'll actually be pared down. I believe there's 2 construction people who will be in the building. Please make sure you have your mask on. We just educated, and Steve will be there policing the mask from the Rasili team, but we want to get that work done so that we can be organized with all of that. The other piece of that is that we got the kitchen, we got the first floor. The second other big thing is the health center, 2.2. So we've been talking at the end of March, early June for that, and gearing up for all of the work that we're so excited to be doing for our new health center, but that's coming along. And then believe it or not, we're finalizing the plans for our new memory care area. So it's really fun to be working through those things. The north corridors, I've gotten several questions, floors 2, 3, 4, and 5. They are slated to be renovated in the 2021 fiscal year. That's all dependent, obviously, on this lovely COVID that we have and how things progress through the year. We don't want to bring construction people into the building if you don't have a clear space to pass. And then again, only about 8% of the population outside of Friendship Village has been vaccinated, so we want to make sure that we are safe on that. So that is in the works to be done. Some other things, TV, Wi-Fi, fiber, I think we've all had our fun with it. I see a lot of heads shaking. Craig, our IT consultant, Tom, and we were on a call last week. We're still working through the TV issue. Spectrum is now in the mix, but Spectrum, of course, is not just as easy as we possibly could have it because it doesn't run through the fiber lines that we just installed. I know, thank you for laughing at that, because that's all we could do. If we don't laugh, we're gonna cry. But we are working through that. I wish there was an answer. I wish what we were told would have happened, but it didn't, so we have to regroup and figure that out. So we're working through that a little bit. My mask is especially big today. And then the last little thing I wanted to talk about was vaccines. We have one more vaccine clinic. Well, actually, we have 2 more vaccine clinics. One tomorrow. We're vaccinating 153 vendors and associates tomorrow. So please also be aware that thankfully, all of you made it through your vaccines with relatively unscathed. We did have a couple of people who got sick, but what we're finding is the younger you are, the higher your side effects are. So because we're vaccinating 153 tomorrow, we are expecting that we're going to have some call-offs this week. So we'll be communicating with you if your apartment's getting cleaned or if there's some other things that we need to work through. And then our last clinic is the 15th. And then I'm sure you're following the news that says that because we are a long-term care facility, we're in the 1A status, which means that if somebody changes their minds and wants to get vaccinated, we can help them get those, so which is great. So we're working through that process a little bit now. Last but not least, we're working through the condensation issue in the flats. Many of you may have heard that the building, especially when it gets cold, it very much condensates around the windows, and this has been an ongoing issue. We did make, last year at the end of the year, we did make some adjustments to the construction piece of the flats, and of course it wasn't freezing after we did this, so we're now seeing that work did not work. So trying to try some additional ones this week and see what we can do and see if we can get that fixed. And then the very, very last thing I have is I think we're providing you a lot of communication, and we'd like to know what's beneficial and what's not. So we have town halls. We now have the weekly Q&A sessions that are held on Friday. We have your community update that's provided each Wednesday. We have your fun and your your menu that's delivered on Saturday. And we would just like to have some feedback. Is it too much? Is it the right amount? Is it the right days? What is that? Because we want to make sure that it is a good use of our time and a good use of your time to be reading through those memos. So I will answer any questions that you all may have. Getting out unscathed. Thanks, everybody.
There we go. Well, okay. The president and the officers have spent the last 3 months organizing different parts of our resident association. After the election of officers and the district representatives, the executive council approved the committee chairs and the committee members. Meetings have been held with the executive council and the committee chairs to assist them in assuming their responsibilities. So I believe that some helpful information was provided to help them make opportunities for in-person meetings as we go forward. We did publish the Do You Know brochure to introduce all the members of the Executive Council. We want to thank Laura Hill and Alan Morris particularly for their work in formatting and getting that printing for all residents to receive a copy. We are working on plans to continue to provide information to each resident about the many aspects of Friendship Village's community. During 2020, there were 13 Did You Know bulletins distributed. So let me know questions that you would like to have answered in this year. As we move forward during the year, I'm very optimistic that there will be continue to be changes in our protocols of what we do here at Friendship Village and the broader community. And I want to emphasize the importance of each person doing their part to keep ourselves safe and healthy. We had an incredible record in 2020, and we look forward to more activities and interactions with our families and each other during this year. Wearing masks, socially distancing, and hand washing will still be important for all of us. I want to wish all of you a healthy and fun year in 2021. Thank you. The minutes of the resident quarterly meetings were distributed last year. For our records, we do need to have a motion to approve that those were the official records of the resident association. Pat is making that motion. Ned is seconding it. Are there any questions about that? All in favor, say aye. Okay, thank you very much for that approval. Laura will now give her secretary's report.
Good morning. As Secretary Treasurer, I operate behind the scenes most of the time. The Treasurer's report is very simple. There has been no activity in the Resident Association account, and we have a balance of $61.89. As Secretary, I prepared minutes for each monthly Executive Council meeting, including the reports from each floor or district. These meetings were held via Zoom, and the minutes and the district reports can be found in the library. I helped organize the committees for the new year by creating rosters with telephone numbers and emails. That helps each of the officers and I hope each of the committee chairs. In the past, as Jean said, quarterly meetings were held in the Muirfield room for residents to hear each committee report of current and past activities. With the pandemic continuing in November, all committee reports were compiled and every household received printed copies of every committee report. The reports given today will thus be compiled and sent out in about a week or so. Thank you.
Good morning. There we go. Got changed. Thank you. It's my pleasure, for sure, and a privilege, really, to serve as your resident director with the board during this year. My term actually started at the first board meeting in January. During that time, the board discussed and received reports on finance, on the operations of human resources and ESS. And as Rita mentioned, they also obviously talked about the completion of the health center and the board retreat, which will return this year on February 20th. As could be expected, considerable time indeed was, of course, spent on the whole COVID issue, including the vaccine effort, ongoing workload requirements for associates at all levels, which, as we know, has been tremendous, and patient care management in the health center and in Waterford. In my report, I tried, based on what I was hearing in the discussion and what we've all experienced with associates throughout the year, I tried to remind and refresh the board's memory on what we as an association did to try to recognize and say in some small ways our thanks and appreciation for what the associates have been doing for us. These included things, and you'll remember some of these, I'm sure, the associate appreciation account of $179,000, which Jack will speak to, the certifications of appreciation, which Laura Hill did, the time when we all wrote notes, handwritten notes of appreciation to associates, which Dick and Marcy Gast led that effort. And of course, it really finished at the top with our day that we devoted to Rita Doherty Day at Friendship Village. In regard to the board itself, it was not a surprise to me to find members to be sincerely committed to Friendship Village, thoughtful and deliberate in discussions, and diverse in their talents and the skills that each one brings to the table during meetings, during committee meetings, of which there are several throughout the year. We're fortunate to have that kind of solid support and willingness to give that group really brings to it. Outside of the board meetings, Life Care Services, our long-term management company, conducted 2 Zoom programs of interest, I think, to residents. One of them focused on marketing and the other focused on finance. Each was well done and included examples and ideas of best practices and other factors for consideration here. So we're off. The board will meet again on a monthly basis, except for July and December. The retreat will happen again on February 20th, and we'll keep you apprised of all of those activities. Thank you very much.
Good morning. We are excited for the return of our art instructors and the reopening of the art gallery this month. Jeannie Swamby, craft instructor, will be back Wednesday, February the 10th. Okay. And Ann Vega will be back on Monday, February the 15th. And Jim Glover is going to return on Wednesday, February 10th. And we now have a new exhibit in the gallery, which will open today, February the 8th. This new exhibit is Laura Hill's beautiful and creative stained glass pieces. You will want to see and enjoy this show. We can have 4 residents in the gallery at one time. Please observe this rule. Also, our needle workers have been very busy with their knitting, quilting, crocheting, and making dresses. All these items go to places all around the world. Many thanks to all the ladies here at Friendship Village who give of their time and love. We will be having an art committee meeting very soon so we can start to plan our new year. All members of the committee will be notified of this meeting, and we will meet here in the Muirfield room. Please join us in the Art Center. If you have a desire to be creative, we will welcome you. And also, I have a quick little report from Bonnie Pratt. She's the gal that runs the needleworkers here. And this is about their sewing room. This area has 2 sewing machines and a serger for use by residents. One sewing machine is reserved for residents who may wish to borrow for short periods of time to sew in their apartment. Available in this area's closet are buttons, beads, thread, knitting needles, crochet books, and DMC embroidery floss of many colors. The yarn has been donated to us for use on charity projects. A needle workers group meets weekly. All are welcome, and residents may work on their projects or one of the several easy items for contribution, or just come to visit. Last year, over 1,500 items from preemie hats to quilts were donated. Thank you very much.
I'm reporting for the Association Appreciation Committee, and the committee dispersed our annual letter for voluntary contributions to the Associate Fund on November 1, 2020. Regarding the funding, we had a balance from 2019 of $7,840.92, and the funds that were collected through the month of November total $144,025.31, and after December 1, more came in for the total of $6,120 for a grand total for the year of 2020 of $157,986.23. So on December 1, we advised the Finance Associate to distribute $150,000 and to include every associate employed as of November 1 and using their hours to serve to establish a gift. So the total contribution for 2020 was 7.5% over 2019. This resulted in a $795.49 gift for the associates compared to only $697.25 in 2019. We think it was a great improvement from one year to the next. So the committee wishes to thank Phyllis Spees for her service last year, and especially wish to recognize Don Neff for his leadership and efforts for over 10 years on this committee. Also, we want to commend the Heartland Bank for all of the services they provide for us by having money and staff available the day that the checks go out, that people can come, no matter what bank they use, and get their checks and their money that day. So the new committee members will be Laura Hill and Bill Evans, and he'll join Ann Barnes and myself to represent all of you. Respectfully submitted, Jack Fettit. Any questions? Thank you.
Good morning. The Charitable Giving Committee met, as did the Charitable Advisory Committee. You know, the attitude of gratitude is growing at Friendship Village, Dublin. Residents grow in gratitude as we experience living here. And so our committee expresses thanks to all the residents who contributed in December to one or more of the charitable funds. Last summer, we created an associate emergency fund to help up to $500 associates who were negatively affected economically by COVID. We awarded 16 grants to associates of $500 or less. A big announcement is that the sons of Joan and Don Herr have made a major gift for therapeutic horticulture at Friendship Village, Dublin. This includes a new decorative outdoor art creation similar to the one in the Celine Garden, 2 outdoor planting areas that are wheelchair accessible, 1 planting area in the solarium, and a contract with a horticultural therapist who will help us design the program at Friendship Village. Our charitable giving director, Betsy Gillespie, has been testing ideas with our committee and the board for a friendship and gratitude program to be rolled out soon in the licensed areas. We approved both the brochure and the program. As you remember from last year, Kramer and Associates had been hired to work alongside of us in long-range planning about charitable giving, and they made a recommendation that Friendship Village consider adding a greatest need fund as a new charitable gift. So Betsy learned from her colleagues in the LCS in the Midwest region that we were the only community that did not have a greatest need fund. And so at our last meeting, both Charitable Giving Resident Committee and Charitable Giving Advisory Committee adopted a resolution to go to the board that we establish a greatest need fund. A greatest need fund is not to take away from other funds, but will help us immensely in fundraising, particularly outside the community. Information about Friendship Village scholarships, along with the application form, will be sent to all Friendship Village Dublin associates in February. The applications are due in March. The scholarship committee will interview qualified applicants in April, and the 2021 scholarships will be awarded in July. Since July's in the next fiscal year, the report then will be given after July 1st. Now, financial data regarding our funds raised in the second quarter of the fiscal year. The fiscal year is July through December. So funds raised in the second quarter of the last fiscal year, we raised for resident benevolence $70,014. We raised for scholarship $19,475. We raised for capital projects $800. We raised for community enrichment $7,185. And for health services, $42,514, part of which includes that gift from the Her sons. Gifts in kind, $33,404, part of which, and most of which, is for the grand piano in this room. So this totals $173,391 that we raised in the last fiscal year. That's 92% more than the year before. Now, at the end of the same second quarter, our fund balances and our distributions were resident benevolence fund balance $967,000, with distributions of $82,562. The scholarship committee, or fund, was $309,627, with distributions of $24,500. Capital projects, $48,542, with no distributions yet. Community Enrichment Fund, $15,690, with distributions of $9,493. Health Services, $122,822, with distributions of $2,757. So we had fund balances and distributions of $119,312,000, which is 35% more than the prior year. The Charitable Giving Director, Betsy, along with Rita, are doing a great job of encouraging charitable giving. Respectfully submitted, Norman Ned Dwyer.
Good morning. My name is Jane Parnes, and I reside in the Flats. I say that because it's hard to be known by many people, given where I live. I've agreed to chair the Environmental Services Committee, which has been so capably chaired by Norm Fauci for the preceding 2 years. I served as a member of the committee in 2019 and 2020. In 2020, the Environmental Support Services Committee met in January, February, and March. After that, meetings were suspended due to COVID-19. Some issues that we addressed in that brief period included a review of proper spacing of furniture in common areas to create ease of safe navigation, and the lack of consistent attention by some residential areas to the proper disposal of trash and recycling items. For the latter problem, Seth White suggested that he be invited to attend a meeting of residents in that area to provide clarity. The committee had 14 resident members representing all village residential areas: Flats, Villas, Riverstone, Brandywine, and Ash Run. Also attending were 3 key staff members: Seth White, Associate Executive Director, Pam Collins, ESS Supervisor, and Sally Cohen, Plant Coordinator. Attendance at the meetings was consistent and participation was robust. There are no specific items that need to be brought to the attention of the Residents Association. Details can be found in the minutes of each monthly meeting. This committee succeeds in its mission because the information flow between staff representatives and committee members from all residential areas is well received on both sides and has resulted in efficient communication and resolution of housekeeping and maintenance issues and concerns. It is important that district representatives and all residents are aware that they can communicate concerns or observations related to the Friendship Village environment, housekeeping and maintenance, to one of the committee members in their residence area. I ask that district representatives make residents in each area aware of the person or people who represent them on the ESS committee. The committee will meet at 1 p.m. on the second Wednesday of each month in the Muirfield Room during this annual cycle. Our first meeting is this Wednesday. Thank you.
I'm Paul Wright, Chair of the Finance Committee. And first, I want to start out by saying thank you to Richard Belleville for doing a great job in chairing this committee for 5 years. His shoes are big and hard to fill, but I'll do my best. The committee's first 2021 meeting will be held on February 24. That's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It'll be both an in-person meeting and a meeting by Zoom. This is a large committee, 32 members, plus staff, so that means this room that'll be more than this room can hold, and there will be a request for several to volunteer to participate by Zoom. The committee's primary purpose is to learn about Friendship Village of Dublin finances and an opportunity to ask questions. We appreciate Craig and Rita for being willing to meet with us and share openly, transparently, the information about finances of this community. There is a strong interest in our finances. That is the reason the membership has not been restricted at all. Daryl Lohr will be serving as our secretary for this next year. The 2021 quarterly meetings will be held, and they are scheduled for one. The first one coming up on February 24. The second one will be April 28 at 10 o'clock in the morning, July 28 at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then October 21 at 10, and that's a Thursday meeting. The rest of them are Wednesday meetings, and the October meeting is when we'll be meeting with Friendship Village auditors. We thank you so much, and we'll report as time moves on.
Good morning. I'm Pat Deach, the chairperson of the Food Committee. Due to the COVID restrictions and the lack of communal dining, the Food Committee has not met in recent months, but the Food Focus Group has been meeting monthly with Jay Dorsey and offering opinions and suggestions for improved culinary service. The Food Committee does plan to meet on the first Tuesday in March in the Muirfield Room using social distancing and masks. The 2021 committee consists of a few new members and many ongoing members with an equal representation of Ashford and Brandywine members. The committee's purpose is to discuss culinary process and service issues, such as consistency in serving sizes, temperature of food, etc. The committee does not discuss personal preference menu items, since those should be put on the comment cards. Our liaison with associates is Jay Dorsey, and Aaron Whittington often attends, and when a new culinary director is hired, he or she will be the Food Committee liaison. I hear rumors that communal dining may resume in March, and if so, the committee will also then meet in April to discuss the return to the dining room. The first item of business at the March meeting will be for residents to identify one positive and one negative comment about the COVID dining experience. Then the committee will move on to positive suggestions for the upcoming season. I am available. You can send me emails. You can make phone calls, although I prefer you don't. And you can grab me in the hall and say, this is what I think. And all of that information will be put together, and then the food committee can discuss it.
The first, the first meeting of the Healthcare Committee will be next Tuesday, February 16th at 11 o'clock here in the Muirfield Room.
The primary objective of this committee is to work together to gain understanding, identification, and implementation of opportunities for process improvements in the new healthcare center and other health-related services/activities.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. I'm Tom Elliott, Chairman of the Hospitality Committee. Not good? Thank you. The Hospitality Committee has not yet met in 2021, as there's been very little activity in new resident move-ins, but a meeting will be called in the very near future. I'd like to thank Joanne Chappell for her service on the committee for the past several years. And in addition, I'm happy to welcome back to the committee Marilyn Economou after a year's absence. Since the last residents meeting, the committee has welcomed 4 new residents to Friendship Village since November 2020. And I'd like to welcome these new residents at this time. In November, Marion Burnside moved in to A133. She did move from Worthington. She was a teacher in the Groveport system for some 30 years, and she told me that she taught in the same room for 30 years. Can you imagine that? Also, in early December, Don and Barbara Olds moved into A250. Unfortunately, we did not have the opportunity to meet Don as he passed away very shortly after moving in. Barbara and her husband moved from Hilliard, Ohio, and they have several children that know several people here. But we give Barbara our condolences about her passing of her husband. Late December, Mary Dounce, preferably known as Molly Dounce, moved from the Muirfield Village area. She was a teacher in early years and then became a homemaker. She was married to former Marv Dounce, and he was the VP of Smucker's facility in Orrville, Ohio. So if you want some good apple butter, see Molly. She moved into Riverside 4409. Now, I'd like for all of you to greet these new residents when you can and help make them feel at home during this trying pandemic time. And I'd like to thank the committee members for calling on these new residents and answering their questions and giving help where needed. Respectively submitted, Tom Elliott. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Mabel Rice, one of the co-chairs of the Library Committee. My partner is Dolores Getz. At the conclusion of 2020, the Library Committee was pleased to have a new, larger DVD tower in place, made possible by designated gifts to the Community Enrichment Fund. In recent months, there have been large numbers of donated books mostly fiction, which are now shelved and marked by small white dots. We always appreciated donated materials very much. Health center residents are now receiving the library's discarded newspapers, and some of our discarded books have been sent to Waterford. Barb Holliday there reports that these materials, including magazines, are most welcome. By discarded books, we mean donations that are duplicates or books that are worn or outdated. Because the library was ready for a holiday bazaar that did not take place in 2020, over 30 coffee table books have been stored in anticipation of eager shoppers at the next fall's bazaar. The annual display of holiday materials in the fireside room was coordinated by Evelyn Slomsky. The Columbus Public Library continues to serve Friendship Village each month on an announced schedule. For the first time since last March, the Library Committee will meet this month in halves, because we are a large committee, and will consider adding more large print books to our collection. Purchases like these are possible thanks to the Community Enrichment Fund. The library receives 4 newspapers: Wall Street Journal, New York Times, USA Today, and Columbus Dispatch. And we are always pleased when residents are kind enough to use them and leave them in the library. See you there. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Audrey Trottier. I'm chair of the Lifelong Learning Committee. Our committee met only once in 2020, last March, a few days before COVID knocked us off our feet. Since the onset of COVID, JC and Alan carried the ball amazingly with their programs. They included documentaries, educational specials, virtual tours, and presentations on a variety of topics, some shown on Channel 51 and the Grapevine. They also facilitated access to the lifelong learning program presented by Otterbein University. I hope you took advantage of some of that. No video conferences through University Circle were possible because of the organizations that they partner with were closed, like museums, so forth. Prior to the committee meeting for the first time this year, which we will be meeting in March, Alan and JC have continued to arrange programs. Looking forward, the Otterbein Lifelong Learning Program will resume on February 25th with the program LLC Friends of the Frank Museum of Art and the C.Y. Wu Chinese Painting Collection at Otterbein. No, I didn't try to memorize that. Also, Friendship Village is excited to welcome Johnny Steiner back beginning Tuesday, March 9th, for a 5-week course titled I Sing Because I'm Happy, Finding Your Voice with Johnny Steiner and the Great American Songbook. You watch for sign-up information, which will be included in your weekly Community Life newsletter. As always, we welcome suggestions for programs and speakers from all the residents. See JC or myself or Alan if you have an idea for something special. We look forward, hopefully, to getting back to having speakers and large group gatherings. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Lois Meredith, Chair of the Program Committee. Although we had some great fun in our fourth quarter with hot dog and some more roasts and lots of music, 12 days of Christmas, some of which we could celebrate, others we could not. Community life kept us moving, looking for Rudolph's nose and caroling outside the health center. We were sent goodies and gifts to our baskets. Birthdays were celebrated with the delivery of bundt cakes and champagne on the second Monday of the month. Looking forward to 2021, our first quarter theme will be Music of Our Lives. So far into the new quarter, community life offered the Great Snowman Hunt, music events, and virtual guest speakers. What can we anticipate? Maybe green beer or a leprechaun coming, writing a new song, sharing our lives at Friendship Village of Dublin, an Easter egg hunt, a bus ride just to enjoy a scenic drive, a picnic in the park. Can any of these be a reality? Who knows? We can dream big and hope. The program committee will have its first meeting March 4th in the Muirfield Room, along with JC and Jeannie from Community Life. We will begin to plan activities in hope that everyone can be a participant and perhaps even attend in person. We will let you know soon what we are planning next. Thanks, and let's all hope for fun events in the near future. Respectfully submitted, Lois Meredith.
Good morning. I'm Lois Fulmer, and I am chairman of the Spiritual Care Committee. The committee, with the help of other residents, completed Operation Christmas Child by providing 52 shoe boxes. And the boxes were filled with age-appropriate gifts of small toys, school supplies, and personal items. They were shipped to children around the world. This project was successful enough that the committee will be considering it again for use possibly this year. When COVID-19 broke out in our health center and in assisted living, notes of support and encouragement were sent. Approximately 200 to 300 notes were delivered. The memory alcove is complete. It's located in the stairway by the main lobby. You're going to find a desk and a chair, but you will see a candle burning when one of our residents has passed. There also will be a fresh rose and a picture of the deceased. The memory book, of course, is there too for you to add your comments and your thoughts about the person who has passed. And that book will be given to the family of the deceased. Peggy Christensen is a member of our committee, and she reports that 35 birthday cards are sent every month to residents, and of course that is sent on behalf of the committee. She also leads the prayer chain. If you have any requests for her, please feel free to contact her. If you would rather contact some member of the committee, that's fine, and we will be sure to get your recommendation, or your thoughts rather, to her. Ann Barnes is our treasurer. We started the year with $3,712.74. We had income of $1,761. We had expenses of $2,835.52. And I want to be sure and tell you that $2,000 of that was our contribution to the Community Enrichment Fund for the associate hardship. And this contribution was something that the committee made with such enthusiasm. It was a it was a vote taken, and it was a unanimous decision, and we were so pleased to be able to make the contribution. And that leaves us with a balance of $2,638.22. Thank you.
Good morning. The Village Garden Committee oversees the 46 raised bed gardens on both the north and south side of the campus. All residents have their name on the plot assigned to them each year. The successful sign-up period during the first week in December resulted in 47 gardeners. Consequently, all plots are taken, one being shared. Andy Howland, our committee liaison, and his crew will be tilling in soil, compost, and amendments to each plot in early spring. It is hoped this year residents will be able to go into garden stores to purchase their seeds and plants. If all goes well, it is our plan also to sponsor some programs and trips. Respectfully submitted, Bonnie Protz.
Okay, thank you. I am Monica Dunn, and I am the chairman of the Wellness Committee for 2021. Our first meeting will be February 18th, Thursday, February 18th. And the goal of that meeting is to review last year's activities and to provide feedback to the members and also our staff liaison, Jeannie Joseph and Jill Doge and Mikey Costor. So it's an ambitious goal for an hour meeting, because as I prepared an outline for that meeting, I was amazed in the year of COVID that so many activities had been provided and attended. Both virtual, hands-on, physical, etc. I cannot go through all of them, and I won't attempt to do that. But we were blessed with a fairly good summer, so we could be outside, and that helped a great deal. I would like to mention that we are also open to suggestions from the residents. And two in particular, but any kind of activity and wellness, et cetera, would be welcome. So you can contact me by email or by phone. I'm open to both. We are particularly interested in people that you think would be appropriate for a wellness lecture. We like to sponsor 4 wellness lectures a year. And any new activities that you think would fit our goals would be welcome. Our committee will meet quarterly. I would just like to mention 2 groups of activities that I thought were particularly worth mentioning. They're all worth mentioning. We don't have time. So the one was the physical games that we played outside. Now, not everyone can do physical games. Not everyone is interested. But what I observed, I participated in bocce ball and putt-putt. But what I observed, there were 2 groups